Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. With this slump that I'm on, the slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you for Bettor Off Dead, Saturday, August 9th. I'm doing it early. I got things to do today. Got to go to the dentist in the morning. It's early morning, and I have to go later in the morning, so I got to try to keep this show somewhat abbreviated as well. Hopefully, I can do that. So much fun. Dentist. Obviously, it's the best place on earth, man. We all love that. 2-2 on the show yesterday. Unfortunately, I was not happy about it. It was a slight loss on the day. Kicked it off with a win on the Miami Marlins first 5 innings. They won the game as well, I believe. So that was a winner there. Either way you did it. Kansas City, Minnesota, under, not even close. Seth Lugo can kiss my ass, obviously, because he was terrible in that game. Joe Ryan pretty much held up his end of the bargain for that. Seth Lugo, got bombed, and that was the end of it. It was probably his worst start of the last 3 seasons. So isn't that just great? One of the times that I actually play him, there it goes. So I didn't actually play him, but I gave him out I gave out the under as they play on the show, and I will continue to point out that I'm not actually betting any of these right now because I am trying to be a little bit risk averse right now. Took a loss on the Chicago Cubs as well. Very surprisingly, the Chicago Cubs couldn't put up any offense in that game. Michael McGreevy, I guess, handed it to him. He pitched well yesterday. Boyd was fine, but, with no run support behind him, it wasn't good enough, obviously. And then the Cubs' bullpen gave up some runs, too, and they lost 5-0. Not what I expected in that game at all. And then we did win in the night game on the Tampa and Seattle under, and Tampa actually blew it in the end. I thought Tampa was going to win the game because they had the big rest edge in the game. They blew a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the 8th and lost 3-2. Seattle playing really well right now, but we didn't care about that because I give out the under. If you played the under full game or first 5 innings, even if you went under the 3.5 first 5, all of them won. So if you played the under really in any capacity in that game, it was a winner for you. So there you go. I will move on to today now. We do have a lot of NFL preseason today, which I will talk about it, but it's going to be really brief. I'm not going to talk about every NFL preseason game. I just think that's kind of ridiculous. I have so far because Thursday was just a short card, and then I talked about all 3 games yesterday or whatever. The other was it yesterday? I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. But whatever it was, we'll talk about that, and then we have a big MLB slate here. We'll talk about WNBA. It looks like the Dildo props might be down from BetOnline right now because I did see them briefly. And it looked like, because we're waiting for Dildo number 5, I guess, and it looked like black as the color actually had the best odds at this point, besides green, obviously. But now that a non-green Dildo has made its way onto the court, it's almost like, all bets are pretty much off here. So we'll see what happens. Chicago, Indiana, either one of these games, all 4 of these teams playing today have actually been involved in Dildo games, I believe. So there could be a Dildo thrown in these games, although it looked like I saw Polymarket had odds. Polymarket had better odds than there being one thrown tomorrow, but that's just because there are way more games tomorrow. So, there could be one thrown today, man. I wouldn't put it past these crowds here, although I don't know if either one of these teams that's hosting has actually had a dildo thrown in their arena. But let's just talk about these games real quick. They're not very interesting, I don't think. Indiana, still without Caitlin Clark. She's not back yet. They did lose Colson and McDonald, I guess, although I know Colson wasn't really, I don't think she was playing a whole lot. I don't even know who McDonald is, so I don't know if those are really key injuries. But Indiana definitely a little bit shorthanded here. They're returning home from a road trip as well. Not a great spot, really, when you return home from a road trip. You tend to be a little bit distracted, typically, more often than not, because you have to get back to home life. They did beat Chicago, who they're playing today. They won at Chicago not that long ago. So it might be a little bit of a revenge spot for Chicago. Chicago's dealing with their own injuries, though. They have a pretty significant injury report. They have a lot of players who are game-time decisions, and Angel Reese, I believe, is still out. So we're not going to have either of those players. We're not going to get the race battle here today between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Neither of them are playing in this game. So you can go to this game for a cheap $18, smuggle in a dildo in your butthole, and just, throw it onto the court. Why not? But I would slightly lean to Chicago in that game for those reasons. Indiana's down from 12 to 11. So it looks like the money kind of has moved the way that I just said, taking the points of Chicago. Man, Chicago is so bad. That is a huge line, man. Indiana, I mean, they were playing like some pretty solid basketball up until the last couple of games. Stan with Israel, what's up? With Israel. All right, there you go. What's up, man? Is that Cthulhu in your avatar there? What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out this early in the morning. We're really, really late for you, wherever the hell you are. Then we have a competitively lined game that actually should be a competitive game between LA and Golden State, because both of these teams, I believe, are tied in the standings right now, and they're both fighting for one of those last playoff spots right now. So this one could be a more interesting one. Golden State coming off 2 straight losses to Vegas. And they're staying at home at this point. They actually returned home in their last game and lost, which it was a return home spot, which, again, is a very difficult spot. But I thought they might play better because they were playing the same team that just beat them the day before that, or the game before that. So I thought they might do better, which they did, but they still didn't win the game. LA has been kind of sneakily playing well, coming from out of nowhere, winning 9 of their last 10 games or something like that. And their only loss in there was actually to Vegas as well. So both of these teams have lost 3 recent games to Vegas combined, but whatever. LA currently on another 3-game win streak here. Now they're starting another road trip, basically going up the coast to the Bay Area there. Not a terrible spot for LA there. I guess I would have a slight lean to LA. The money seems to be coming in that way, up from 1 to 2. I agree that they're the better team, and the line looks like a little bit misleading right now because, you have teams that are almost, they are the same record, basically. So then it's like, how is the home team getting points, right? Well, the odds makers are telling you LA is actually indeed the better team here. There might be some injuries, too. I know, Golden State is without Kayla Thornton, but that's been the case for a while now. But she's one of their best players, and she's going to miss the rest of the season. So they're definitely going to be missing her at some point. Might cause them to miss the playoffs. Anyway, I forgot to say, this is the rundown. I always forget about that. Let's get through Major League Baseball, man. Try to get through it here. I'm going to give out 2 plays in baseball, and I have some other leans as well. We actually have a doubleheader. We have a couple afternoon games, and one of them is Miami-Atlanta, who are playing a doubleheader. They must be playing a makeup game, I guess, because they did play yesterday, because I gave out Miami first 5 in that game yesterday, which was a winner. So I guess they had a game rained out at some point because they're making it up here today. The game in the afternoon is not a good pitching matchup. And as far as the bullpen usage here, we do have, normally I would say probably Atlanta has a slightly better bullpen. Miami only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday. Both teams actually only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday. So bullpens are actually decent coming into today. Might be in okay shape to pitch in 2 games today, but we'll see. Because the starting pitching matchup is weird in this first game and kind of questionable. Ryan Gusto, I guess, is making his Marlins debut because he was on Houston, and I guess Houston traded him away, and then he's been in the minors. He hasn't been very good. 4.92 ERA, 1.43 whip. Better on the road, though. 3.1 ERA on the road. Last time out, he did go 6 innings, allowing 1 run against Washington, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, which wasn't terrible. His strikeout-walk ratio hasn't been that bad over the past month or so, in the month of July. But overall his numbers still aren't very good. He wasn't really cutting it. Now he's going up against the Atlanta Braves here, who actually have never seen him before. So maybe he has a little bit of an edge here just because the Braves haven't seen him before. He might be, I don't know if he's going to be pumped because he went from a contender in Houston to a Marlins team that is likely not contending for anything. So I don't know if he's going to be excited about pitching for his new team or what, man. So it's very difficult to gauge what you're going to get out of Gusto. Atlanta has Hurston Waldrop making the start here, and he's a guy that was a pretty highly touted draft pick a few years back. I don't really know what happened. He does throw a hard fastball. I believe he throws an upper 90s fastball. I guess he has a really good splitter, but I guess the rest of his arsenal needs work, and I guess he's really, really wild. Because I looked at his minor league numbers this year, and they're not that good. Like, his ERA is, I believe, in the around 4 or so in AAA, which isn't that great. And his whip is like 1.4, which I think is due to the wildness. He has a pretty good strikeout rate in the minors, but he's walking a ton of guys, man. So he hasn't really fixed his wildness. I guess he does throw like a slider, a cutter, a sinker, I believe, and a curveball as well for his one like actual slow pitch. So mostly it's a fastball mix out of Waldrop, but he hasn't totally been getting it done, man, in the minors. Last year, he made 2 starts for Atlanta, which I don't remember at all, and he didn't do well in those 2 starts. This year, he has made 1 start for Atlanta very recently. That was probably one of those games where they were undecided when I broke down the game because I do not remember talking about him at all. He did okay against Cincinnati, 5 2/3 innings. This was at home as well. Gave up 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. Still had some wildness in that one with 2 walks, but he was decent in that start. Miami has never seen him before, I'm pretty sure. So what are we going to get out of him? I don't know, man. You have 2 pitchers that have never been seen before by the opposing hitters in this matchup. So you could argue they're both maybe going to do okay, but the oddsmakers threw up a total of 9.5 in this game. It did already drop to 9. Miami is a road favorite here, as they have been in every game in the series, up from -105 to -106 here. I would probably not want to play Miami. I don't trust Gusto at all, man, so I don't like that idea. As far as the total, I could see the first 5 innings maybe going under just because of the unfamiliarity here, but there's no way I would want to bank on 2 starters that you really can't gauge very well. And then these teams are going to play in the evening as well. So they're playing a 1:15 game. Then they're going to have a break and then play a game at 7:15 Eastern. Usually when you see these double headers, it's like almost one right after the other, but not for this double header here. In the night game, if you're going to play an over in one of these games, I mean, I would probably play if you're going to play a total at all, I should say, because I kind of lean to the under in the first 5 in the first game. I think over is the way to look in the second game here. I mean, both of these starters are extremely untrustworthy, and you might have a lot of bullpen usage in game 1. You don't really know. So the bullpens might be a little bit overworked. I don't know if the second game, if game 2 of a doubleheader, I don't even know if game 2 of a doubleheader actually affects the hitting a little bit or not, as far as like the hitters being a little bit tired because they already played a game. I don't really know. But this pitching matchup in game 2 looks really, really awful. Sandy Alcantara pitching from Miami, 6.44 ERA, 1.42 whip. Not good numbers. Really bad on the road, 8.86 ERA. I mean, it's very, very sad, really. You know, he just has never bounced back from the injuries and surgeries that he's had. I pitched okay for a little bit over the past month or so and then kind of fell apart again. Gave up 6 runs last time out against Houston, which is not good. They definitely were able to hit him, even though he had 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Overall, his strikeout rate has never gone back to what it was early in his career. His strikeout rate's been pretty low recently. Hasn't been walking a ton of guys, but he has given up some hard hits in some of these games, so he's just not really fooling hitters at this point. Numbers are mediocre in his career against Atlanta, and 119 at-bats. 29-8 strikeout walk ratio is good. 261 batting average, 700 OPS. Not horrible numbers, but some of that must be from before he was injured, before he's been this bad. So I would take into account his recent form more than what those numbers are. So I would probably be leaning towards him not doing well. And Eric Fetty, I think you can pretty much always lean towards him not doing well. 5.32 ERA, 1.48 whip on the season. He came over from St. Louis, and it has not been good. He's been bad at home, 5.59 ERA, although most of that was with St. Louis. He did pitch 1 game at home with Atlanta, and wasn't great. I gave out Milwaukee on the show here, and Milwaukee did get it done for me, barely. Fetty went 5 1/3, still gave up 3 earned runs, had no strikeouts, 2 walks. That wasn't good, and he didn't even make it 5 innings in his other Atlanta start, giving up 4 runs and 4 2/3 to Kansas City. Not a good lineup, so he's not doing very well with Atlanta so far. Miami hasn't seen him much, though, surprisingly. Only 3 at-bats against him. They're 1 for 3 lifetime with a strikeout. So Fetty might actually have a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge in Game 2 there. So, I mean, if you want to do something really, really crazy and lean towards Atlanta, it looks like the money kind of is coming in that way. Miami dropped from -115 to -106 in that game. Although, just on the surface, I think Alcantara is the better pitcher over Fetty, though. But I think over is the way to look in that game. And it's up a little bit from 8.5 to 8.5. Or no, it actually went down to 8.5, juice to the under. My mistake. But I would lean to the over in that game. Houston at the Yankees. Yankees had another bullpen implosion yesterday. Devin Williams again gave it up. The guy that the Yankees used to have a no facial hair policy, or no beards at least. And they finally got, I mean, it's a stupid policy. They finally got, it's like uptight bullshit. Of course, I'm a Red Sox fan. The Red Sox like to have huge beards, blue collar, down and dirty. The way that I like it, man. But the Yankees actually allowed beards starting this year, basically just for Devin Williams, so he didn't have to shave his beard. And he's been terrible as their closer this year, man. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Yankees have lost 6 of their last 7 games, I believe is what that is now. Not playing great baseball right now, man. And their bullpen, as I was just basically alluding to, is a concern here. Their bullpen's definitely the worst of these 2 bullpens up against Texas. Is it Texas? Wait, what am I even talking about? No, Houston, the other Texas team, excuse me. But yeah, Houston has a much better bullpen as well. And the Yankees used more of their bullpen yesterday as well. So Texas does have Houston, God, I keep saying Texas. Houston does have the bullpen edge in this game. Framber Valdez is pitching for Houston. He's been one of their best starters. 2.83 ERA, 1.12 whip, good stuff. Worse on the road, though. 4.04 ERA on the road, so he is more hittable on the road. He's coming off basically his worst start of the season last time out on the road at Fenway Park, there was kind of a defensive unraveling behind him where all the damage happened in 1 inning, and he couldn't get out of the inning. The defense failed behind him, so it wasn't entirely his fault. He gave up 5 earned runs against the Red Sox in 1 single inning, but he went 6 innings in the game. So he wasn't really that awful in the game. He did have 3 strikeouts, which isn't that many. 1 walk, whatever. I'm not ready to say that he's in really bad form now or anything like that. His numbers are mediocre against the Yankees. I mean, it's going to be another tough task for him to pitch at the Bronx. I mean, that's not easy. We know the Yankees obviously have the better offense out of these 2 teams. Even though Houston's is all right. 59 at-bats for Valdez against Houston, against the Yankees. Oh, my God. It's too early, man. I can't even talk. 271 batting average, 799 OPS allowed, 20-8 strikeout walk ratio. So his numbers are decent against the Yankees. He's going up against Luis Gil, which I don't know what we're going to get out of Gil here, man. He had a pretty decent season last year, although his issue has pretty much been the walks. He could strike guys out, but he is wild as hell. And that was the case his first game back. He hadn't pitched yet this year, and his first game back was not good against Miami. It was not a good offense. He only lasted 3 1/3, gave up 5 earned runs on 5 hits, plus 4 walks, and struck out 3. So maybe you give him a pass for that because it was his first game pitching in basically a year's time, and he was coming back from injury. So you expect some struggles where he has to get used to pitching again at the major league level. But that was a bad start against a pretty bad offense. So he is facing a better offense here in Houston, but in his career, he's actually been good against Houston. Their current lineup is only 1 for 19 off him with 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, 0.53 average, if you can do the math there, and 195 OPS. So slight lean to the Yankees in the first 5 innings for me, man, because I don't want any part of the bullpens, but the money looks like it's agreeing with the Yankees side. Houston down from -130 to -117. 61% of the tickets, only 60% of the cash. I do think Valdez is good, though, but the money looks like it's coming in, expecting Gil to actually pitch a lot better here. I could see some arguments for a first 5 inning under in this game as well. The total's sitting at 8. You could wind up with a bit of a pitcher's duel early on because I think Valdez is still a good pitcher. But again, I think the best way to attack that game is actually Yankees. First 5 innings, probably you're getting them as an underdog price. On how often do you get the Yankees as a home underdog? Not often. So there might actually be some value, or usually you're paying a tax to play the Yankees. But in this case, I don't think you really are because of Heal's really bad start in his one start so far this year, and because Houston's been playing really well and the Yankees have not been playing well recently. Washington at San Francisco. San Francisco on a 3-game win streak. They shut out Washington 5-0 yesterday. San Francisco definitely has the better of these two bullpens here. Washington, I'll give Washington the offensive edge because San Francisco's is so bad. Washington used less of their bullpen yesterday. They basically had Ogasawara, who was in the starting rotation for a little bit, just eat up innings in yesterday's game to save their bullpen, although I don't know why they're saving anything because they got nothing to play for here. I mean, Miami and Atlanta have nothing to play for either. Houston and New York both obviously are playing for playoff positioning. Washington pretty much has nothing to play for here, and San Francisco is probably going to have the motivational edge at least because they are still trying to make the playoffs here. Brad Lord listed as the starter for the Nats. I've made some mistakes trying to go against this guy, man, because I really don't think he's that good. 3.42 ERA, 1.23 whip. I mean, those are decent numbers, though. 2.7 ERA on the road is fine, but the reason I was going against him is because he was a relief pitcher, and then he started making starts, and you know he's not going to go that deep into these starts, and then you have to deal with Washington's bullpen, and that's not really ever a good sign. He finally didn't have a good start last time out. He failed to go 5 innings against Milwaukee. He's only at most gone 5 1/3, which was a game against Houston, so I still don't think he's that good. I'm not trusting Lord. I think you're going to see a lot of the Nationals' bullpen in this game, and they already used Ogasawara yesterday for a lot of pitches, so he's not going to be available. Lord against the Giants, they're 0 for 4 off him with a strikeout and no walks, but very small sample size. I don't think you'd take away a lot from that. Carson Whisenhunt pitching for the Giants here. I believe he's a rookie, yeah. So he hasn't pitched in the majors until this year. He's got a 4.35 ERA and 1.16 whip across 2 starts, and he was worse in his home start, 7.2 ERA because of that one start at home, which was uninspiring. He gave up 4 earned runs at home to Pittsburgh, which isn't very good, but maybe you give him a little bit of a break because it was his first start ever, and his last start, he pitched at the Mets, which is they're a pretty good offense, and he only gave up 1 earned run in 5 1/3 innings, so he did pitch better in that game, even though he did walk 2 guys. I'm still not ready to trust Whisenhunt, but the one thing to know about him is that he has an elite changeup. That's his thing, man. That his changeup is his best pitch. He doesn't throw that hard. He tries to fool hitters with a mix of off-speed stuff, and his changeup is where it's at. Andrew, what's up, man? You missed the WNBA talk, though, as far as the eggplant is concerned. But overall, I'd probably still lean to San Francisco in this game. I think you could pretty much argue they have the starting pitching edge, and obviously they have the bullpen edge. And I don't think the offensive edge that Washington might have here is really that significant. And San Francisco needs to get wins here. San Francisco is down from -160 to -157, 81% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on them. Probably be leaning to San Francisco in some capacity in that game, although I don't love the price either. But maybe, you could argue for playing them run line, but with a bad offense like that, it's tough to cover a -1.5 or whatever at home. You could go -1 run line or split -1.5, half the bet, and money line, half the bet, something like that. But I agree with the San Francisco side in that game in general. Anaheim, Andrew, just in time for Anaheim Angels at Detroit. Detroit beat them 6-5 yesterday. Detroit has the better bullpen here. Anaheim's bullpen is pretty bad. Detroit only used 2 relievers yesterday, and Anaheim used 4, so Detroit definitely has a bullpen edge in this game. I'll give the offensive edge to Detroit as well, and Detroit is particularly good at home, so I think Detroit has a bunch of edges in this game. As far as the starting pitching, on the surface, you would say, well, Kikuchi is definitely the better pitcher over Morton, right? But in this matchup, I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, Kikuchi, 3.22 ERA, pretty good, but his whip is very high, 1.4. He walks way too many guys, man. So I think at some point, you're going to see his ERA go up because you can't put 1.4 guys on base an inning and continue to not allow runs like that. He has been worse on the road, too, 4.27 ERA on the road. So if you want to fade Kikuchi, you usually want to do it on the road. I did have a good start last time out at home. 1 earned run allowed against Tampa, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. But he was struggling prior to that, man. He gave up some runs. Didn't really go deep into any game in the prior month in July, and he gave up some runs in most of those games. So he wasn't exactly great, even though he was limiting the runs to basically 3 or fewer in pretty much all those starts. But when you're not going that deep into these games, it looks less impressive. And his numbers against Detroit are very bad. In 73 at-bats, 370 batting average allowed, 1,060 OPS. They got 5 homers off him. Torres has a torrid hitting pace off of him, 12 for 30 with 2 home runs and 3 walks. So if you want to look for a player prop there, you could look for Torres to maybe do something in this game. But Detroit has Charlie Morton on the mound. He's made 1 start for Detroit since coming over from Baltimore. Bad numbers on the season, 5.2 ERA, 1.52 whip, really bad. Better at home generally, although this includes with Baltimore, 4.68 ERA at home. Hasn't made any, or that's all with Baltimore. He hasn't had any home start yet for Detroit. But, I mean, Morton has been an anomaly, man. I mean, he's really old, so it seemed like his career was over. Baltimore was losing so many games with him on the mound. They sent him to the bullpen, and then when they brought him back into the starting rotation, he's been like lights out almost since then. Well, not quite lights out, but he's been really good since then, except for 1 bad start at Tampa, which is a very hitter-friendly park. He's been quite good since then, and his first start with Detroit was at Philadelphia, which is certainly not an easy task. And he went 6 innings and only allowed 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits. Really nice start out of Morton, so he might actually pitch well in this game. And he has decent numbers against Anaheim in 82 at-bats, 25-6 strikeout walk ratio, 256 average allowed, 697 OPS. So Morton has good numbers against Anaheim. I started out looking at this game thinking, oh, come on, Kikuchi on the road versus Morton. And I was going to recommend an over in this game, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I mean, the total's gone up a little from 8.5 juice to the under to 8.5. But, I mean, I kind of agree with Detroit as well, but the money is completely disagreeing with that, so I don't really want to do that. Detroit down from -155 to -127. 53% of tickets on them, but 78% of the cash coming in on Anaheim. Given those matchup numbers and the splits that I just showed you, I don't really see how you could play Anaheim in this game, to be honest, man. Even though Detroit, yeah, you could argue they're just too heavy a favorite with a guy like Morton on the mound. But anyway, I think I'll come for full circle on that, and I still think maybe the best way to play that is to look towards an over in that game, even though Detroit's bullpen is decent. If, Morton does struggle and he's out of that game, then, it could kind of have a domino effect into the bullpen. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has won the first 2 games of this series, which is kind of crazy because Pittsburgh is out of it. Cincinnati is in the thick of it, man. Cincinnati needs to win games if they want to get into the playoffs here. And Pittsburgh, I guess they're just stepping up just because they want to spoil Cincinnati's season, which is crazy. Pittsburgh does have the better of the 2 bullpens, but as far as the usage, Cincinnati used a little bit less of their bullpen yesterday, 2 relievers compared to Pittsburgh's 3. But we'll still probably give the bullpen edge to Pittsburgh after that. I think Cincinnati does get the starting pitching edge with Nick Martinez pitching, even though he hasn't been that great. 4.66 ERA, 1.21 whip on the season, 4.9 ERA on the road, so a little bit worse on the road. What they've been doing with Martinez is a little bit odd, man, because he's had a couple of random appearances out of the bullpen. One was his most recent appearance, which wasn't very good. He came in out of the bullpen and went 2 1/3 at Wrigley and gave up 2 runs to the Cubs, but it is the Cubs. They're a really good offense. Maybe he just wasn't used to coming out of the bullpen, because that was a game where Nick Lodolo started and he had a blister and they had to take him out. So Martinez came into the game in that game. So he's actually pitching on slightly short rest too, because that was exactly 5 days ago. And usually these pitchers will have 1 extra day in there because teams usually get a day off somewhere in there. So pitchers usually pitching on 1 extra day of rest. So Martinez won't be rested, but he only threw 33 pitches in that game. So maybe the amount of rest doesn't really matter. His numbers against Pittsburgh are actually not good, even though Pittsburgh's offense is terrible. Cincinnati has the better offense. 66 at-bats, 22-5 strikeout walk ratio, 288 batting average allowed, and 762 OPS. So his numbers not very good against Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh has Braxton Ashcraft listed as their starter, and he is a guy who's been in the bullpen all year. 3.24 ERA, 1.38 whip is really bad. So even though he's been limiting the damage run-wise, his whip indicates something else is going on. He's putting too many guys on base. He's been worse at home, 4.3 ERA at home. But again, he's been coming out of the bullpen. He hasn't gone more than 3 innings in any appearance this year. So I don't think we're going to get a deep appearance out of Ashcraft here. What does surprise me is Cincinnati, even though they're in his division right now, have never faced him before. So that's a little weird. So maybe he'll have a little bit of an edge early on just because they've never seen him before. But you're basically getting kind of a Pittsburgh bullpen game in this game. I'm not sure either starter is totally trustworthy in that game. So that game is probably looking like you kind of want to look towards an over in that game as well. Total sitting at 8.5. I know it's a little bit tough to do that with Pittsburgh's offense being so weak, but I think that's the way that I would lean in that game. Cincinnati's down from -120 to -118. They got 57% of tickets with 89% of the cash coming in on Pittsburgh. So the professional money actually likes the Pittsburgh bullpen game. I don't know. You try to figure that one out. I can't really figure it out for myself. A's and Baltimore. Really ugly matchup here between two teams that are out of it. The Orioles won yesterday 3-2. I kind of liked the A's in that game, and I liked them early in the game, so I don't know if the A's had the lead earlier in the game or not, but both these bullpens stink, especially the A's. Baltimore's is more rested as well because the A's actually played 2 days ago and Baltimore didn't, so Baltimore definitely gets a bullpen edge here, even though their bullpen still stinks. The A's probably have the better offense, though. With all those young hitters they have there. Jack Perkins, also a young guy, will be making the start for the A's. He does have pretty good numbers this year, 3.97 ERA, 1.15 whip. And he's actually been way better outside of that awful Sacramento stadium they have to play in. He has a .79 ERA on the road, although it's in a very small sample size. Perkins was, I believe, making relief appearances. And then I think he's made one start so far. His last outing against Arizona, he only went 3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts. It was not a great performance from him. I know it was a difficult offense to face with Arizona, even though Arizona traded a couple of their bats away. But still, Perkins, I'm not ready to trust him, man. I don't think he's going to go very deep into this game. Orioles have never seen him before, so maybe while he's out there, he will have a little bit of an upper hand as far as the unfamiliarity is concerned, because, again, the hitters have to kind of figure the pitcher out. But I don't think I'm ready to trust Perkins. Brandon Young is pitching for Baltimore. He's a young guy that's got some talent, but it hasn't really happened yet for him. I think he's had kind of a delayed start to his major league career, too, because I think he was dealing with injuries. 5.88 ERA, 1.67 whip on the season. I know that's really bad. His numbers look way worse than Perkins. Young has been really bad at home as well, 6.85 ERA, so I wouldn't really want to touch him either here. I don't want to touch him, man. He's not handsome enough for me. But, I mean, his walk numbers haven't been that great, although he's kind of gotten it under control a little bit recently. They've gone down a little bit. His last outing, he didn't make it 5 innings against the Cubs, but he actually allowed no earned runs in that start. Had 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. It wasn't an awful start for him. And he had 1 good start prior to that against Toronto, going 6 innings, allowing 2 earned runs. So the 2 starts prior to that are 3 out of the prior 4. Actually, all the rest of his starts besides one of them, he didn't even make it 5 innings. So he's struggling. He's not going deep into games. His strikeout rate is okay, but his walk rate is way too high. He's allowing too many hits. So Young overall, very difficult guy to actually put your money on. The A's have never seen him before, so he does have an unfamiliarity edge. So we do have that on both sides of this starting pitching matchup. I still don't think we could trust these pitchers enough to want to go like under, though, in the first 5 innings or something like that. High total of 10 kind of indicates there's something going on here. I mean, part of it is that both bullpens are putrid, but that's a high total to see in a game that's not at Oakland or at the A's, stadium, or at Coors Field. 76% of tickets, 84% of the cash coming in on the over, even though the total flipped from being juiced to the over to juiced to the under. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with the over because I don't really trust either starter here. The money is also coming in on Baltimore, up from -110 to -111. That's the strongest market read, at least. 77% of the cash on them, 50% of tickets evenly split. So I think the sense is probably that Young is just more used to going deeper into these games than Perkins is. So you're probably going to get the A's really bad bullpen into the game before Baltimore's bullpen is in the game. So I think that's probably the sense there. And part of the reason why Baltimore is taking the money there. I don't really disagree with it. Cleveland at the White Sox. White Sox have lost 5 games in a row now after they were actually playing some decent baseball for a little bit. They lost yesterday 9-5, and I actually thought Chicago was a way to look in the first 5 innings yesterday, and I was wrong. Savale did not have a good performance. The White Sox kind of saved their bullpen, but how good is their bullpen? Not very. Cleveland used more of their relievers, 4 compared to the White Sox, 2. Cleveland generally has the better bullpen over the White Sox, but due to the usage, maybe it evens out a little bit here. Cleveland, I mean, I don't even know which team I would say has the better offense at this point, man. I mean, they're both not good offenses. White Sox are way down near the bottom. Cleveland also is, but I guess you give Cleveland the slight edge offensively, which is ridiculous. The starting pitching matchup is somewhat interesting. Joey Cantillo is pitching for the Indians here. 4.37 ERA, 1.44 whip. Those are not good numbers. He has been better on the road, though. 3.6 ERA on the road. Last time out, he had 9 strikeouts against Minnesota in 5 2/3, so his strikeout stuff was working, even though he gave up 4 earned runs in that start. The prior 2 starts, or actually 3 of the prior 4, he'd allowed 3 or more walks in all those starts, though, so his walk rate has been way too high. He hasn't allowed a lot of runs. He was coming out of the bullpen for a lot of the season, but since he's been in the starting rotation, he's basically been limited to around 5 innings every start, so he doesn't go that deep. But his issue really is the control. It's his walks. He strikes out a good amount of guys. The walks are really the main problem. He doesn't allow that many hits either. Numbers are good against the White Sox, though. I mean, we're talking about a bad lineup here. In 30 at-bats, they only have 5 hits, 13 strikeouts, no walks, 167 average, 433 OPS. So Cantillo has done well against the White Sox. He's going up against Sean Burke, another young pitcher here who's having an up-and-down season for the White Sox. 4.23 ERA, 1.41 whip is really bad. The ERA is okay, but that whip is way too high. He has been a little bit better at home, though. 3.79 ERA at home. He's done okay recently. He hasn't had too many bad starts, but he's not going that deep, just like Cantillo. He's going around 5 innings in about every start as well, but you have to go back to early July to find a start where he gave up more than 3 earned runs. And the prior start was in like early to mid-June when he gave up more runs than that. So he's actually not allowing that many runs recently. 7 strikeouts last time out against Anaheim, 3 earned runs allowed in 5 innings. Not a horrible start for him. And he had 8 strikeouts to the start before that and 1 walk against a tough Cub lineup, although he didn't even make it 5 innings in that game. But he is pitching okay right now. Facing a pretty weak Cleveland lineup. They're not good against him. 5 for 35. Lifetime 11 strikeouts, 7 walks isn't a good ratio for him, but all the other numbers are pretty good. 143 average, allowed 543 OPS, so he does well against this opposing lineup too. So I think first 5 inning under is probably the way to look in this game, and you have 2 bad offenses that have bad matchup numbers against these opposing pitchers here, and the pitchers, their numbers don't look exactly that great. Like, I don't think any public bettor is going to look at this game and think, oh, I want to play an under in this game. But I wouldn't want to deal with the bullpens because I don't trust them. So first 5 under is the way I would look in this game. It's down a little bit from 9 to 8.5 here. So you might have missed that key number of 9 to go. If you want to go full game, you might have missed the key number of 9. But for first 5, it doesn't matter as much. First 5, if you get like a 4, maybe even a 4.5, that looks pretty decent to me. That number, to me, actually seems too high. 92% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the over, though, but it's a public over. So I wouldn't really have that much of an issue taking the first 5 under at all there due to the market read. Cleveland up from -130, -132, but they're public. 89% of tickets, only 84% of the cash. Public, as usual, doesn't want anything to do with the White Sox, but I mean, I would probably lean to the White Sox side slightly, even though I don't think Burke is the better pitcher over Cantillo, just because the value, like just because of the number, it looks like maybe taking that home underdog makes a little bit more sense. Kansas City, Minnesota is going to be one of my plays, so I'll skip it for now. Mets, Milwaukee is a good matchup here. Milwaukee won 3-2 yesterday. Milwaukee remains really hot, man. I'll give Milwaukee the bullpen edge in this game, and I think the bullpen usage was a little bit less on Milwaukee's side yesterday as well. Yeah, they used 2 relievers and were off the day before that. Both teams were off the day before that, but Mets used 4 relievers. We'll give the bullpen edge to Milwaukee. I think at this point I'll give the offensive edge to Milwaukee, even though they have a couple of injuries there. And starting pitching, have to give that to Milwaukee as well because the Mets haven't decided on a starter, so they might be going with a bullpen game. Meanwhile, Tobias Myers is making his return for the Brewers, I believe, here. His numbers aren't good this year. 4.3 ERA, 1.61 whip, but in such a small sample size this season. He might have been injured, and then he's been injured. So I'm going to put more weight into last season when he made starts for almost an entire season and had a 3 ERA and 1.17 whip and had a really good strikeout walk ratio. He was not walking a lot of guys last year. So I think Myers does have something. He missed a couple of months this year, and he wasn't doing that well. Actually, he came back, and I think he made relief appearances, which is why I haven't talked about him, because he's been in 2 games in July so far. And then I think they decided to rest him a little bit and get him ready to rejoin the starting rotation, and now that's what we're going to get here. He did only make it 5 innings once so far this season, but last year he was doing it pretty regularly. So at some point we're going to see him, I think, ramp up back to what he was last year. I think last year is a better indicator of what he is than what he's done so far this season. The Mets have 26 career at-bats against him, only 3 hits, 8-0 strikeout walk ratio, 115 batting average, 308 OPS. So Myers has done well against the Mets. I would lean to Milwaukee in this game. They're down from -150 to -148, but I think they have a slight edge at the very least across the board here in every aspect of this game. So that is the way that I would lean here. Is the price... I don't know. The price might be a little bit too high for Milwaukee, but that's the way that I would lean. Probably maybe looking at a run line or something like that. Cubs at St. Louis. As I said, surprisingly, St. Louis got the win yesterday. In the return home spot, facing Matthew Boyd, they still won. They got a couple of runs off of Boyd and then tagged Moron against the Cubs bullpen. Moron was me for being on the Cubs there. I should have just not gone with it just because I don't like these public road favorites, but I thought the Cubs had all the edges in the game, man. Cubs still have the same edges today for the most part. They have the better bullpen. They're a little bit more rested than St. Louis as far as the bullpen, as far as what they used yesterday. So you got to give those edges to the Cubs. Cubs have the better offense, probably have the better bullpen, and it's debatable which one of these starters is better because I don't really like either starting pitcher very much. But when you look into the matchup numbers, I think probably you give the edge to the Cubs as well with Colin Ray on the mound, even though he hasn't been, I don't find him to be very impressive, man. I mean, he was looking really good early on this season, but I told you he was going to regress, and that has happened. 4.23 ERA in the season, 1.32 whip. Not good numbers, especially the whip. He's been slightly better on the road, 4.12 ERA on the road. Failed to make it 5 innings in his last 2 starts, giving up 6 earned runs across 8 2/3 innings, giving up a whopping 14 hits across that stretch. Did have 6 strikeouts and 2 walks, so that walk number isn't high, but still, he's been struggling a bit, man. And he gave up 5 earned runs to Kansas City the start before that. You can maybe give him a pass for a bad start against a good Milwaukee lineup, but he had a bad start last time out against Baltimore as well. So he's definitely gone a bit out of form after he had a few good starts in a row. He's not pitching well right now, but he does have good numbers against St. Louis and 52 at-bats. He only has 9 hits. 11-6 strikeout walk ratios, a few too many walks, I guess, but 173 batting average allowed him, 509 OPS. So Ray may be able to bounce back here because he does at least have decent numbers against St. Louis. Andre Palante for St. Louis has similar numbers to him, ERA and whip-wise, 4.57 ERA, 1.32 whip. Palante, not a guy that I really like. Nothing personal, man. Just I don't like the way he pitches. 4.39 ERA at home, so he's been a little bit better at home. He is coming off 2 outings in a row where he gave up 2 or fewer earned runs, went 12 total innings, 2 combined earned runs allowed against Miami. I mean, he shut out Miami and 1 hit them for 7 innings, which is impressive, but Miami, not a good offense, and the 3 starts between bad offenses in Pittsburgh and Miami, he did poorly in all 3 of those starts in the middle there. Only went 5 innings last time out against San Diego, although I did say he only allowed 2 earned runs, but he did walk 3 guys, so he's not exactly in the greatest form right now, I wouldn't say, and he's facing a really good Cubs lineup here. In 58 at-bats, he has a 10-7 strikeout walk ratio against them, 310 batting average allowed, and 902 OPS, so he doesn't have very good numbers against the Cubs. So I will lean to the Cubs in this game. For all those reasons. I think they actually have the edge kind of across the board here. They're going to be public again, 87% of tickets. They do have 94% of the cash. You're getting a bit of a cheaper price on them this time with St. Louis at -105, which does look misleading. It again looks way too easy to take the Cubs here, but I would probably do that if I was going to play the game, or I would just pass it. Philadelphia at Texas. Texas has the better bullpen over Philadelphia. Philadelphia beat them up yesterday, though, man. Christopher Sanchez had a really good start. Merrill Kelly did not do well in his second start for Texas. So Philadelphia, I believe, won the game 9-1 or something like that. Phillies didn't use a lot of their bullpen yesterday. It was a blowout, so not a lot of bullpen usage for either team, really. But we'll give the bullpen edge to Texas in general just because they do have the better bullpen. Philadelphia obviously has the better offense, though, which kind of balances out. As far as the starting pitching matchup, though, the starting pitching matchup to me looks like it's pretty heavily in favor of Texas. I mean, I like Texas' starter in this game a lot more than I like Phillies, which is Jesus Luzardo, 4.32 ERA this year, 1.35 whip. Started pitching significantly worse after a hot start to the season, although he has been pretty good on the road, 3.36 ERA on the road. And facing a weak offense like this in a pitcher-friendly park might actually be good for him. He actually has kind of returned to form over his last couple starts, which were also against bad offenses. White Sox, Baltimore, had 11 strikeouts and 1 walk across 13 innings there, only allowed 7 hits and 3 earned runs combined. So he is pitching better in his last 2 starts. He hit a really, really rough stretch where hitters were definitely able to figure him out for at least a while there. His numbers against Texas are kind of all over the place. It's a small sample size, 22 at-bats, which these small sample sizes can lead to some kind of wonky numbers. 10 strikeouts to 3 walks. He has a really high strikeout rate against them. 227 batting average. That's all good. But he's allowed 3 home runs to them, so a 956 OPS is quite high. 2 of them are from Garcia, though, and then 1 from Seager. So kind of the usual suspects there. So Luzardo, a little bit tough to figure out how to kind of read into his numbers against Texas. Maybe you just shouldn't, and maybe you should just say, well, he's in better form. Texas isn't the greatest offense, so maybe he'll do well here. I still think Jacob deGrom for Texas is the more trustworthy pitcher. I mean, he's been really, really excellent throughout basically his entire career, and including this year, 2.8 ERA, 0.94 whip, 1.91 ERA at home. He's been really good. Although he's out of form right now. He's struggled. His last 2 starts, he allowed 5 earned runs in each start, both on the road against Anaheim, but then in Seattle, a pitcher-friendly park. He did not do well there. His strikeout rate was still pretty decent with 13 strikeouts over that stretch of 10 1/3 innings, but he did walk 4 guys, which isn't that great. Gave up 5 home runs across that stretch. He's actually given up 10 home runs since the start of July, so the home runs have actually hurt him. Surprisingly, 3 home runs allowed at Seattle. That's a little bit bizarre. I mean, the home run ball has been kind of his weird one negative this year, really. Will he bounce back facing a really good Philly lineup? I don't know. He does have pretty good numbers against them. Philly has certainly seen him because he was in the NL East, I believe, not that long ago, right? He was on the Mets, up until 2022. Against the Phillies, 172 at-bats, 70-14 strikeout-walk ratio, though. It's a very good strikeout-walk ratio, 227 average allowed, 669 OPS. So he does pitch well against this Philly lineup generally, although Luzardo is in the better form recently, though. So how do you attack this game? I mean, I would kind of lean to Texas in the game. I think they have the pitching edge. I still like their starting pitcher better and their bullpen better. They're down from -135 to -131. 51% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Texas. The total's really low, down from 7.5 to 7. So the odds makers telling you they think this is going to be a pitching duel, which I wouldn't really disagree with. The public coming in heavily on the over, 93% of the tickets, 98% of the cash on the over, which is a little bit odd. Probably not an accurate number really there. So I would slightly lean to the under. The under there. I don't really trust Philly's bullpen, though. So Texas, I would lean to them slightly as well, but I'm worried about the recent form of these 2 pitchers here not being in favor of Texas. Colorado at Arizona. Arizona won yesterday. I mean, not really surprising because Colorado's bad, although I thought Arizona might not be in a great headspace there, and I didn't necessarily think Arizona was the greatest look in that game. Arizona does still have the better offense, even though they traded some guys away. Colorado, they're historically bad, man. They're putrid. Arizona, as bad as their bullpen is, they're probably the better of these 2 bullpens. So I think Colorado has some metrics that are actually the worst in all of baseball now, bullpen-wise. Colorado used fewer of their relievers yesterday, although not by much. So you got to give Arizona the offensive edge and the bullpen edge. Probably you got to give the starting pitching edge to Arizona as well, as far as their pitcher is the better pitcher. But digging into the numbers, it's a little bit questionable. Blaylock is pitching for the Rockies. He's a young guy still, maybe has some potential. Numbers this year look awful, obviously. 7.68 ERA, 1.66 whip. That's bad. He's been bad at Coors Field, though, and away from Coors Field, he actually has a 3 ERA, which is way better, obviously. So he's been way better on the road. His last couple of road starts are actually quite good. He gave up 1 earned run combined across 11 and 2/3 innings in those 2 starts. Not really striking out a lot of guys, though, so his strikeout rate's not high. Last start, he walked 4 guys against a bad Pittsburgh lineup and got bombed for 7 earned runs. I unfortunately gave out Colorado in the first 5 innings in that game because I thought Blaylock might actually do decent for once in that game. Was not to be. He was bad. He continued to be really bad at home, so he's not really in the greatest form. Surprisingly, he does have good numbers against the D-backs, though it's only in 13 at-bats. They only have 2 hits off him, 2 strikeouts, no walks, 154 average, 385 OPS, so maybe Blaylock will deliver a decent performance here, although Arizona, it's a very hitter-friendly park as well, so we will see. Arizona's got Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He's a guy who I think has better stuff than what his numbers look this year. 5.53 ERA, 1.66 whip. I know he's trying to come back from, I believe, like Tommy John or something like that, so that can definitely hurt some guys, especially when they're in their 30s like Erod is. Hasn't been that good this year, man. I mean, he's been pretty much the same home and away, not great. His wildness has really been a concern, man. His strikeout rate has been okay, but he's been wild, walking a lot of guys. Multiple walks now in 4 straight starts. He's been kind of alternating good and bad starts, and that would mean his start would be bad this time out. Had a decent start at that terrible A's stadium last time out, which is at least a decent sign that he's pitching okay in like bad ballparks. His numbers are bad against the Rockies, though. In 41 at-bats, 7.0 strikeout walk ratio is good for him, but 317 average allowed, 732 OPS. Those are not good numbers, so don't really know if we could trust Erod. So surprisingly, Blaylock actually has the better matchup numbers in this game, which definitely surprises me. Arizona's down from -230 to -213, so the money line's dropped on them. 74% of tickets, 98% of the cash on them. Could look to maybe take Colorado on the run line in the first 5 innings. I would not want any part of their bullpen, but maybe somehow Blaylock gets the better start than Erod here in this specific matchup, possibly. Not sure I would disagree with an over either, even though the money looks like it's disagreeing with it. 80% of tickets, only 63% of cash on the over. Total's gone up slightly from 9 to 9.5, though. I mean, both bullpens are pretty untrustworthy. Both starters could potentially be untrustworthy as well, so maybe that's the way you look. My Red Sox at San Diego. The Red Sox beat up Nick Pivetta yesterday, man. Big win for the Red Sox yesterday, 10-2. They're having to face some good pitchers in this series out of the Padres, man. Padres are definitely better at home than on the road, pretty significantly so. And the Red Sox aren't that great on the road, but man, Red Sox beat up San Diego yesterday, 10-2. I don't want to have faith in the Red Sox, man, but they're playing pretty well as of late. Red Sox used more relief pitchers yesterday than San Diego, I believe. San Diego only used 2 relief pitchers. San Diego has the better bullpen, even though the Red Sox pen isn't that bad. San Diego does have a bullpen edge in this game. Red Sox, I'll give the offensive edge to the Red Sox, but looking at the starting pitching, it looks like San Diego should have the better starter here. King against Giolito. King is definitely the better pitcher, but Giolito, apparently the Red Sox pitching coaches figured out something wrong with his mechanics. I guess he's coming back from Tommy John surgery, and I guess he changed his motion or something, and they somehow were able to figure out something to get his motion to be more like it was before the surgeries, and he's starting to pitch better. His numbers on the season are good. 3.57 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been good on the road, 3.1 ERA on the road, and this is a pitcher-friendly park, too. He's coming off giving up 1 earned run each in 2 straight starts against Houston, which is a decent offense, and Minnesota, not a very good offense. He did struggle against Chicago and Philly, the Cubs and Philly in the 2 games prior to that. Those are good lineups, but overall he's definitely pitching a lot better than he was earlier this year. 2 good starts in a row now. Only a 9-3 strikeout walk ratio. He's not striking out a lot of guys, but he only allowed 2 earned runs over those 14 innings. That's not bad, man. Up against the Padres, they've seen a decent amount of him because I think he was in the National League, right? No, actually, I don't know how, well, barely. He was on Washington very early in his career. He was mostly on the White Sox. I do remember that, but for some reason I thought he was like on the Dodgers or something. So I don't know how he has this many at-bats in his career against San Diego. 102 at-bats, but he has a 20-6 strikeout walk ratio against them, a 196 average allowed, and 515 OPS. So Giolito does have good numbers against the Padres. Michael King, pitching for the Padres here, He's been really good, which I like that because the Yankees got rid of him, and now he's a really good pitcher for San Diego. 2.59 ERA, 1.02 whip on the season. He was good before he went down this year, but he's been off for a long time. He was good at home, 2.11 ERA, but he hasn't pitched since May. Prior to that, though, he'd allowed no more than 300 runs in any start in the entire season, but he wasn't going deep into most starts. He was going a little bit more than 5 innings in most of his starts because he's such a heavy strikeout rate pitcher that he doesn't go that deep, man. He throws a lot of pitches. His one struggle, I guess, his comp, if you will, is that he walks too many guys. He's definitely a hard thrower. He strikes guys out, but he walks too many guys. He's not that good against the Red Sox, though. In 42 at-bats, 14-2 strikeout walk ratio is good, but the Red Sox have seen him a little bit, and 310 batting average is what they have off him, 793 OPS. So I would kind of lean to the Red Sox first 5 innings here, man, because you don't know what you're going to get out of King when he first comes back, although the Red Sox are the public team right now. 79% of tickets, only 77% of the cash, because the Red Sox have been better than the Padres have as of late. So I don't really want to take a public road underdog like the Red Sox are here. San Diego down from -140 to -139. King, I mean, I do like to play on guys more often than not when they come back from the injury list because you know they've made rehab starts. They're usually excited, ready to go, especially on a contender like San Diego. And King being a veteran and being a good pitcher, he probably will be ready to go, but the matchup numbers look like maybe you get some value on Giolito on the Red Sox early in the game in the first 5 innings. I would not do it in the full game, though. Full game, Padres have the better bullpen. I think the tide kind of shifts towards San Diego in the full game. Total is fairly low. It's up from 7.5 with juice on the over, but 88% of tickets on the over, 57% of the cash on the under. I could definitely see the arguments for this being an under, a pitching duel there. Red Sox bullpen usage is a little bit high for my liking, although their bullpen is decent, so maybe the under makes sense. I will skip Toronto, LA, because that's my other play that I have listed in the title here. And Tampa at Seattle, like I said, Tampa blew the game against Seattle in the 8th inning. Seattle 3-run 8th inning yesterday to steal that game. Seattle's now won 5 games in a row. Seattle, a lot of bullpen usage, though, because they had to play the day before that. So Tampa still might have a little bit of a rest edge because they didn't play on Thursday. Seattle only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday that'll kind of give their bullpen a little bit of rest. Tampa also only used 2, though, and didn't play the day before that. So Tampa, I would say, still has a bullpen edge in this game. Seattle has the better offense. The starting pitching is 2 young guys that, could do well in any given start, but could also not do well. Joe Boyle for the Rays, good numbers on the season, 2.3 ERA, 0.88 whip. Worst on the road, though, 4.38 ERA on the road, surprisingly, because the Rays have a pretty hitter-friendly ballpark at home, and this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark here, although he hasn't pitched in this stadium yet. He's not going deep into games, though, man. I think he was coming out of the bullpen, and he's gone at most 5 innings, although he did go 5 shutout innings last time out against the Dodgers. Walked 2 guys, though only had 2 strikeouts. So Boyle, I mean, he is still walking too many guys here, so I'm a little bit concerned with that. He's not allowing a lot of hits, though, so he's tough to hit. So he could potentially do well here. The Mariners only have 4 guys who have seen him before. They're 1 for 4 off him with 2 walks and a strikeout. So he is fairly unfamiliar to the Mariners, so maybe Boyle will have an okay start in this game. Probably won't be going that deep, though. And then Logan Evans pitching for Seattle. He's a young guy that does have some upside, but his number's not great this year. 4.3 ERA, 1.41 whip. Better at home, as most Seattle pitchers are. 3.03 ERA at home. Last time out, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 3 earned runs allowed against Texas. A weak Texas lineup, but he kind of bounced back after a bad start at the A's Stadium. But we know that A's Stadium, very tough to pitch in. His worst starts were at the A's and at the Bronx, which are difficult stadiums to pitch in, man, and fairly difficult offenses to face. Tampa has no track record against Evans, so he at least hasn't seen them before, so that might be a little bit of an extra edge to Evans there. Very, very difficult to gauge this game, man. The money is coming in towards Tampa, though. 58% of tickets, only 56% of the cash on Seattle, who's already down from -140 to -122. So if you want to resort to a market read there, it looks like Tampa getting professional money again as an underdog there. If I was going to do that, yeah, I mean, I could see doing that, actually, because I do think they have the bullpen edge, too. So, yeah, maybe that's a slight lean to Tampa in that game, even though they didn't get it done yesterday. Let's go to best bets now, and then I'm just going to briefly hit on NFL preseason because I do have to get out of here as well. Best bets, I'm going to give out 2 plays today. Charles, what's up, man? I know I'm really early today because I got to go to the friggin' dentist, which is going to suck. Good morning to you as well, man. Kansas City money line, full game is the first play that I'm going to give out today. I think this is a good starting pitching matchup to look for KC in this game. Where are we looking here? Here it is. There it is. They flipped already from plus 109 to minus 125 here, although we see 62% of tickets on them, but 72% of the cash coming in on Minnesota. I don't buy those numbers, man. I actually think the initial market move was actually the right move, even though sometimes there's a false move early in baseball, and then you want to look at the cash percentage later, but it might switch around because this is the night game, man. I think Kansas City is the right play to make here. Hopefully you can still get a decent money line price on it. If it starts coming back the other way, you might get a better price on Kansas City, but I see this being the right way to go, man. I mean, Kansas City is technically still in the race here, and Minnesota sold off at the break, so they're out of it at this point, man. Kansas City then, therefore, has the motivational edge, right? So they still have more to play for here. I know Minnesota won yesterday with Joe Ryan on the mound, so Kansas City might want to bounce back from that as well. Kind of an ugly performance from them yesterday, mostly because of Seth Lugo. Thanks a lot, Lugo. Minnesota, I don't think has the better bullpen either. I mean, they traded away their closer. They did use 3 relievers yesterday. Kansas City also did, but Kansas City's a little bit more rested than Minnesota is. They do have the better bullpen. Yes, Minnesota has the better offense, but it's not by that much. So I'm looking at mostly pitching here, and I think the starting pitching is a big edge to Kansas City. So you could go first 5 innings with Kansas City as well, but you're paying a little bit more for it. So I figured because they also have the bullpen edge, in my opinion, I would go full game on this instead. Noah Cameron pitching for the Royals. I mean, even though he's a rookie, I would argue he's their best pitcher right now. I mean, I think Bubic might be hurt or something. I think Cameron is probably their best pitcher. 2.68 ERA, 1.01 whip on the season, really good. Slightly better on the road, too. 2.4 ERA on the road. Is coming off only having 1 strikeout against Toronto and allowing 4 runs, so it's not the greatest start for him. Kansas City had won 4 starts in a row prior to that for him, though. He was alternating shutouts with games where he allowed like a couple of runs. He's only allowed 4 or more runs 3 times all season, and 1 was at the Cubs, 1 was against the Dodgers. So we're talking about really good, and the Yankees was the other one. So we're talking about the best lineups that he faced. He struggled against them. Minnesota is not one of those offenses. Minnesota has 4 hitters who have seen him before, but they're only 1 for 12 off him. A double from Jeffers. They got 5 strikeouts, no walks. It's an 0.83 average, 250 OPS, and the rest of the guys are unfamiliar with Cameron. So you got a young, talented pitcher in Cameron, fairly unfamiliar to the opposing hitters. I think that's the way you got to go here. Up against Bailey Ober, who has really been struggling for the Twins. Unfortunately, because I have liked this guy in the past, but 5.38 ERA, 1.41 whip. Terrible numbers for Ober. He's a little bit better at home, 4.89 ERA. He was dealing with some injuries as well, so he actually just came back. He was really bad prior to his injury, allowing 7 earned runs in 3 out of the 4 starts before going down. Minnesota has actually lost 8 starts in a row of his, including the 1 start when he came back. His home run issues are still an issue. He's allowed multiple home runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. 5 of his last 6, actually. Terrible. Gave up 2 more against Cleveland, 4 earned runs in 5 innings. Not a great start for him there. Although 4-to-1 strikeout walk ratio wasn't that bad, but his walk rate has never really been the problem. He gives up hard contact. He gives up home runs. And his numbers against the Royals, as bad as they are offensively, are not good. And 116 at bats, so they're way more familiar with him. 16-7 strikeout walk ratio, 302 average, allowed an 867 OPS. So Ober definitely at the disadvantage here. So Kansas City is the way we're going to go in that game. Full game, you get a better price on it. I still like their bullpen a little bit. It's just a cleaning this time, but I'm worried about what they might find, man. I'm older now, so I'm definitely concerned about that. So we might have a really bad visit in the future, which would really suck. But yeah, you could go first 5 innings if you want to with Minnesota as well. And then to finish it off, we're going Dodgers first 5 on the run line, half a run. So they do have to be leading after 5 innings. It's the better price, though, at minus 115, because I don't want to lay like minus 150 or whatever on the Dodgers here, but I think they're the right side, especially early in the game. They're up from minus 160 to minus 163 here. 92% of the cash on them, but 57% of tickets coming in on Toronto. I think public perception of this is that Toronto, top team in the AL East, like that they can compete with the Dodgers, which, yeah, they can. But in this matchup, I just don't like it at all, man. Yeah, Toronto has been playing pretty well. The Dodgers did win yesterday 5-1. Generally, yes, Toronto has the better bullpen, so that's why I'm taking the bullpens out of the equation. Toronto only used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The Dodgers also used 3, so we'll avoid the bullpens here because Toronto has the better bullpen. Dodgers have the better offense, though, and their offense is really good at home. I think they're the highest scoring home team in all of baseball, so we're going to be backed by that at least here. And I'm looking at the starting pitching matchup, and I think LA has a big edge here, man. Chris Bassett, I know he's shown signs of pitching really well here, but he's kind of an older dude that kind of, like, he just throws a lot of different fastballs with a lot of different movement. He doesn't throw that hard, and I think he's starting to kind of lose it a little bit, man. 4.12 ERA, 1.31 whip. His whip has been kind of too high all season, and he's been much, much worse on the road. 6.45 ERA on the road. So if you want to fade Bassett, you want to do it on the road, which is where he is here. He's coming off walking 3 guys against KC, even though he went 6 innings of 1 hit, 1-run ball there. It wasn't the greatest start for him. The prior 2 starts, he gave up 6 earned runs and 3 earned runs against Baltimore. Not a good sign when he got rocked by Baltimore. And the Yankees, you can give him a pass for that, but he also gave up 10 hits the start before that against San Francisco. So he's kind of faltering a little bit here, although his strikeout walk ratio has actually been decent over the last month. But I don't trust him. And against this Dodger lineup that's pretty heavy hitting, he hasn't been good. In 91 at-bats, 308 average, allowed 908 OPS, 25-9 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't trust Bassett here. Up against Blake Snell. Snell, I mean, he's been basically injured all season, man. He's one of the components of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are getting their guys back in the rotation, man. They got Glasnow back. Snell is back now. And these guys have been really, really good in the past. I think Snell is going to be back to his usual form at some point here, man, even though he's bouncing back from injury. Usually he walks too many guys, but he's virtually unhittable, and that's basically his thing. 3.21 ERA this year, 1.64 whip, I understand, is really, really bad. But he's better at home. He has a 2 ERA at home, although I know it's a very small sample size. He pitched really early in the season, had 1 bad start against Atlanta, went on the shelf. Actually, he walked 4 guys in each of those starts, which wasn't good. Went on the shelf, but he's made 1 start since coming back, and he had 8 strikeouts, no walks against Tampa. Went 5 innings, did allow 3 earned runs on 2 homers, but it was at that weird Steinbrenner Stadium that's very home run conducive. So I'm not going to take that much away from that, but he pitched pretty well, man. The fact that he had that many strikeouts and that few walks, that shows me he's back in command, man. I think he is back, ready to go. And he has pretty good numbers against Toronto in 39 at-bats. 9-5 strikeout walk ratio, not great. Again, he walks too many guys, but 256 average, 649 OPS. So I'm going to trust Snell. I don't trust LA's bullpen, so we'll take them out of the equation. We'll go Dodgers first 5-inning run line in that one. And that's the second of the 2 plays that I have. NFL preseason. I'm not going to talk about every one of these games, but I will just briefly mention the games where the line has just moved out of control here, which are the Jaguars up from 1.5 to 4 here now. They're taking the money as well against the Steelers. The Steelers are not playing Aaron Rodgers in this game. The Jaguars are going to play Trevor Lawrence at least early in this game, so that's why the line is where it is there. Jags playing their starting quarterback there. And they have a new coach there, so they want to get used to the system there with Duval, Liam Cohen there. Don't know how that's going to work out, although I actually think the Jaguars could bounce back this year in a really bad division. But if you want Jags, I mean, these totals in preseason, as I mentioned, are all way, way low, as I've talked about on the show. So when the line is kind of moved out of control and you're not getting any more value there, and you know that like starting quarterback's going to be in that game and the offense is going to be trying in that game, I would look to play that team's team total over. So Jags and then the Broncos are the other one. They flipped from +1.5 dog to a 7-point favorite here at the 49ers. I think all these games are probably being played at these teams' home stadiums. Obviously, the Broncos would never be a 7-point favorite at the 49ers unless there was something going on here. Again, that line has moved too far. There's no way you can lay a touchdown with the Broncos, but low total again, 34.5. The other games is 36 or whatever. I would look to play the Broncos over their team total. They're going to be playing Bo Nix. They're playing their starters, and this is the Greenlaw game because Broncos have Dre Greenlaw now, whatever his name is, who was one of the best defensive players for the 49ers for a while. He's been dealing with injuries, though, but he is on the Broncos. Now, I have no idea if he's going to play in this game, but the Broncos with Sean Payton, he's crazy. They're saying they're going to play their starters here. I guess they want to get Bo Nix some more reps there, so he will be in this game early at least, and the 49ers are not playing their starters. So that's what's going on there. That's it for today, man. Again, my plays, baseball, Kansas City Royals, -120. Money line and first 5-inning run line on the Dodgers. That's it. That's going to do it. Everybody have a good day today. Learn to Toad on Twitter and on Instagram. Bettor Off Dead, obviously. Like, subscribe. Keep interacting with me. Follow. Go rate it on Spotify and Apple. We're on YouTube, obviously, as well. Covered in Uke is my ukulele YouTube channel, which I got to get the short people cover that I put on Twitter yesterday. I got to get that up at some point, maybe later today or something on YouTube. So check that out. And patreon.com/learn-to-toad. I should put a banner up for it. Maybe I'll get that done as well. Where you can get bonus Uke content, at least, a Spotify feed and prioritize requests. That's going to do it. Everybody have a good day, because I probably won't be. You too, man. Charles, have a good day. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a good weekend, everybody, and peace for now.